Good morning and welcome to today's session of Imagine America Radio, our continuing career college exposition webinar series. My name is Bob Martin. I'm the president and CEO of the Imagine America Foundation. I want to welcome all our visitors to the fourth year of the Imagine America Foundation's Career College Exposition Webinars services, where we now have produced and distributed more than 150 webinars, with our total viewers and listeners now surpassing 5,000 local educators and counselors. To our continuing listeners, we want to thank you for your continued support. We very much appreciate it. For our new listeners, welcome, and we hope that you're going to enjoy today's session. I'm very excited about today's topic, which is college careers. Is a college degree the only ticket to success? Sponsored by Universal Technical Institutes, or UTI. UTI is this country's leading provider of high-quality, career-focused education at 18 locations nationwide. Universal Technical Institute, or UTI, is a 24-year sponsor of the Imagine America Scholarship and Award programs, having provided admissions-based financial aid to more than 11,300 enrolling Imagine America students just since 2016. Without taking valuable time from our presenter, let me refer any and all inquiries about the Imagine America Foundation to our website, www.imagine-america.org. Since our beginning in 1999, the Imagine America Foundation remains their leading sponsor of scholarship aid to enrolling high school students. However, our country faces a never-ending, serious shortage in certified technicians. We hear from employers in virtually all sections of the country desperately looking for qualified employees, and we simply need to do more. Our partner in today's presentation is Universal Technical Institutes, or UTI. Joining us today to discuss in detail the looming technician shortage and how UTI is helping meet this need is Dr. Stephen Coyle. Dr. Coyle is a nationally recognized expert in this area with an extensive K-12 background. Before turning the program over to Dr. Coyle, let me very quickly outline today's agenda. Today's session of Imagine America Radio will be 30 minutes maximum, which includes questions and answers. Once we finish these remarks, we're going to move directly into today's presentation. All participants can submit questions while the presentation is in session via the Q&A feature in this Zoom meeting. At the end of the presentation, I'll then present any and all questions offered by the participants. We'll then address as many questions as possible and provide written responses in follow-up emails. We'll have a hard close at 10:30 a.m. So without taking any more time out of today's presentation, let me turn today's session over to Dr. Stephen Coyle. Dr. Coyle, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you, Bob, for that introduction, and welcome, everyone. I know you're busy people. I appreciate you taking the time to visit with us today to get to listen in to what we're talking about. And so let's just get right into the presentation. You know, there's a movement in our country today to learn more about CTE programs and STEM career pathways that are available across the country. I can remember when I first started doing this 8 years ago that there was a lot of pushback on this, but we're not seeing that today. I'm seeing more and more articles today from different people and from different organizations, and there's definitely a movement in this country to learn more about alternatives to education than what we've been used to in the past, which I think is refreshing to see for our students. You know, you're dealing with Gen Z students, and we know what these kids are like. They want it now in the present. They're not emailers, they're Snapchatters, they're texters, they're Instagrammers. They want it now. One of the things about Gen Z kids is they value an education and they want to make money, but they just don't want to go to school 4, 5, 6 years. You know, some of them will, but some of them will not. They want another option, another choice, and that's something that I go across the country to speak about, is the idea that not all of your students are wanting to go to college. They're looking for an alternative, but that can still make them successful in their career and what they want to become, in their lifetime. When we talk about skilled trades, 85% of young people value a skilled trades career, but only about 16% are likely to follow through on it. You might say, why is there such a difference in numbers there? This was a survey done by Stanley Black and Decker. And what we find is that, they just don't understand what skilled trade careers are all about. And that's something that we as educators need to do a better job of explaining to them. They need to understand these are STEM careers. Oftentimes you think of somebody building a house, are they using STEM? Well, I would hope they are. I hope they know how to read a yardstick, a ruler, a tape measure, when they're measuring and doing all the things for your house. So it's going to be square. So it'll be standing 20 years from now, 30 years from now. They also don't understand the earning potential. Many educators that I've talked to, they think of these as more like hobbies, but they're careers and they're well-paying careers. And then finally, the thing that stands out is the underrepresentation of women in the industry. Right now, 27% of STEM careers are filled by females, when the female population is slightly over 50%. So it doesn't make sense at all. We've got to get more young women involved. There's been a party going on for many years. The guys have been invited, the girls haven't. And so that is an untapped resource is the women in STEM. And I'll explain to you later what we're trying to do at UTI to combat that so it's not an issue in the future. The old saying, you must go to college in order to get a good job. Where did that all start? Well, it started clear back in 1971, Griggs versus Duke Power and Energy. Back then, Griggs, we had the aptitude tests. We had all the assessment tests to see if you're going to be good at a job. Well, Griggs sued. These aren't fair. They're not constitutional. Someone in Texas doesn't have the same experience as someone in Mississippi or someone in California or someone in New York. So they were ruled unconstitutional. So Duke Power and Energy said, well, that's all well and good, but what are we going to use now to measure employees? College degree. If you have a college degree, you're automatically qualified. You're automatically smart, intelligent, whatever you want to put it. And that's where we are today. We put such a premium on that college degree. I'm not saying a college degree is bad, but in many cases, it's just not needed or not necessary. And so that's why we have to change the thinking on, what's important to students. What are they looking for? I always love talking about the old smart versus the new smart and the difference. The biggest difference is with the old smart, we focused on the best school, the best college out there. I live in Missouri. So Missouri University is supposed to be, the top journalism school in the country. If you want to go to law school, well, then you're going to go off to Harvard, because it's the top law school in the country. Well, who says it's the top school? Well, the people who send their kids there, I guess. I don't know. But the focus used to be getting the best education you can. Take all the hard subjects, take all the weighted courses, help every little old man, a little old lady across the street, paint the restrooms out the park, all community service, anything you can to look good on that resume. So then you can get into the best school out there. You get into that school, whatever that school is, you figure out what you're going to do with the degree you get, you walk out the front door, here I am, world, hire me. And that just doesn't work anymore today. So we move forward to the new SMART. So the difference is we focus on the career and the person. Yeah, and we start with that even in elementary and lower middle school, where we start showing them what is out there, what's available to them. And then when they move into high school, we give them more exposure. One of the things that you as educators need to do is you need to put more focus on bringing presenters in, like what we do. We're in over 10,000 high schools nationwide each year. And we go and we talk to students about careers that are available to them. They don't know what they don't know. I say CNC. Now, some of you on this call, you may know what that is, but many of you probably don't. Computer numerical control, where we make all the parts for machines and things like that. So, these kids don't know these occupations exist. The other focus we have to put on is, and I say this often to educators, if you're having a college fair, stop it. Start having career fairs. Start focusing on all of the careers, not just college, because some of your students feel left out. And oftentimes I'll talk to school counselors and they'll say, well, that's what we meant. Well, say what you mean. So call them career fairs. That way you're involving all of your students. And then what we want to look for is what post-secondary track do we want to get them prepared for to get them to the best school for them, not the best school in the country, but the best school for them. Why would we go to the University of Texas if you want to go into cosmetology? Let's find a good cosmetology schools instead. Let's find a good welding school instead for someone who wants to be a welder. So that's the biggest difference between the two, and that's something we really have to focus on as educators, is what's best for the student. You probably recognize Mike Rowe here from show America's Dirtiest Jobs, and I love this quote: "Not every child will become a lawyer or a doctor. Teach your kids that it's okay to work with your hands and build cool stuff." Some of your students, that's their doctor and lawyer. We oftentimes talk about plan A and plan B. We got to have that backup plan. You have to remember that some of your students that want to do the alternative type of education, this is their plan A. This isn't their plan B. We'll say, well, if it didn't work out for you to be a veterinarian, you can always be a welder. Anybody can do that. Well, try it. It's not that easy. Or yeah, anybody can work on cars. No. That is all a specialty in itself. What we call competency-based credentials. And that's important to some of your students. So it's okay to push some of your students into skilled trades too, if that's where they need to be. Help enlighten them, because they may be getting pressure from parents and their friends and stuff to do something they really don't want to do. And so once again, as educators, it's important for us to paint all the pictures for them of what's available to them. I love this slide, and I think this just speaks volumes. This is what an employer sees as an employee versus what an employee sees of themselves. For instance, professionalism, work ethic. The employer rated the employee at a 42.5% efficiency, but the employee rated themselves at 89.4%, almost 90%, over double. Oral and written communications. The employer rated them at 41.6%. They rated themselves at 79.4%, almost 80%. Once again, double. So where's the discrepancy here? What's going on here? Well, I have a theory. When kids are little, everybody gets a ribbon, a medal, a trophy. Nobody loses. Oh no, we can't have that. And that's the problem. We don't teach kids how to fail. We don't let kids fail, so they don't learn how to react from it, how to pick themselves up afterwards. You and I have both experienced failures in our life, and we learn from them. We get better from them. And that's important that we do that with our students. So what I'm submitting to you is, please, allow your students to fail so they can learn from it. It's okay if they do. And we don't have to be mean about it. We don't have to, gosh, you stink or anything like that. But we just, it's okay to say, hey, that's not your best work. That's not good. It's okay. So they learn from it and they get better from it. The path to success looks different for everyone. And this is a great statistic right here. Almost half of our college graduates walking around on the face of the earth today have a bachelor's degree. They didn't need it. They're not using it. That's sad. When you think in terms of how much time, energy, and money, so don't forget that part, that they put into getting this degree that they didn't need in the first place. We have to recognize this. And when we're doing career readiness and career pathways, with our students, we have to help them to understand what it is that they need, what it's going to look for. When they come to you and they say, hey, I want to be this or this, it's up to us educators to give them great advice on, okay, well, for this particular occupation, you don't need a bachelor's degree. Rather than say, well, let's go ahead and get that bachelor's degree anyway, because it'll just be good for you to have. Come on, let's be real with these kids. Time is money, and we don't want to waste it. So let's be good stewards of directing our students in the right direction. When you look at this slide, there's one word that really should stand out, and that is essential. Now, all these careers that you see on this screen, they're not essential because we teach them, because we do. No, they're essential because imagine your life without them. Imagine your life without these people in your life somewhere. Now, you might say aircraft mechanic, avionics technician. It's really not all that essential to me. Well, maybe not to you, but it's sure important to me because I fly thousands of miles each year going to different school counselor events and CT events and national events. So that's very important to me. Or you might say a plumber. Is a plumber really essential? Come on. Well, maybe not until the toilet doesn't flush. Then all of a sudden that's your BFF. You know, we all these people play a role in our life one way or another. A diesel technician, you might say, well, I don't drive a diesel. No, but you sure get a lot of products in your home that's made possible through trucks, through diesel. So they all do affect our lives, and we need to recognize that. These are all essential. They were essential before the pandemic, during the pandemic, and now today, post-pandemic. And they are all high in demand. They're much needed, and they pay well. So these are some examples, and these are things that we talk to students about when we do workshops in your high schools. We talk to them about all of these. They may look at something here like NDT power generation. What is that? Non-destructive testing. Bridges have to be tested to see if they're safe. I always thought, I drive across a bridge, it doesn't fall in. Hey, it's a good day. But these bridges have to be tested, and there's actually a career that does that, and kids don't know that exists. So once again, as educators, it's important for us to make them aware of what's available to them out there. The demand for technicians and welders continues to soar. You can see 1.7 million plus technicians are going to be needed by 2031. We're just a few days from 2024. It's on us. I wish I could sit here and tell you that the skills trades are, that it's shrinking, but it's not. It keeps expanding. The gap there keeps expanding, and it's important for us to fill those technician jobs now. The average age of a technician right now is 57 years of age. They're getting close to retirement. We have to fill that. Now, I told you earlier about getting more women involved in STEM careers. So what we started a Women in STEM program. We're in our third year now. Jerry Elner heads that up, my colleague out in New Hampshire. And the Women in STEM program, when we first started that, we were hoping to get, 30, 40 girls to come to these. We just did one in Austin, and we had over 250 girls there. It's amazing. What we're trying to do is we're trying to expose these girls to what's available to them out there, changing lives, showing them. What we do is we bring them into a campus so they can see a true STEM school in action. And then on top of that, what we do is we show them, we do STEM demos with them to see what's out there. We let them do some stuff. We let them weld, do some things so they can see, because they just didn't know that they could do these things. And then at the end, we ask them to, fill out cards. And like this one young lady put, so I like watching cars go fast, but wow, today I couldn't stop smiling. I was intrigued with everything. I had no idea how I would start a job in this career. Now all I can think is to apply here after high school. We changed that young lady's life that day. And then we bring in panelists, these women in STEM, successful women, so these girls can talk to them, so they can ask them questions like, how did you do it? What did your parents say? Did your friends make fun of you? Those kind of things, because they're worried about those kind of things. So it's just been a great program for us. And, it just continues to grow. And we're starting to see a difference. I think our enrollment percentage is up like 56% for females. And so that's phenomenal to see more girls are getting involved. We're hoping other schools are seeing this too as a result of what we're doing with the Women in STEM program. So it's really exciting to see this program grow, and we want to keep it growing. Scholarships and grants. We offer over 15 million scholarships in scholarships and grants each year. Sadly, only less than half of it is even used. Kids won't fill out scholarships, but we have all kinds of programs available to help students to pay for their school. We are Title IV funded, so they do a FAFSA to see if they qualify for financial aid, but we want to help them with the scholarships and grants to make their education more affordable so they can make their dreams come true. That's important to kids, to making education affordable. The 35 plus industry relationships, we're the only school in the country that can pull this slide up, because we have all of these industry partners and more that we're involved with. But I don't bring this up for this reason. I bring it up to tell you that if you're not getting industry involved in your school, that's a big miss for you. huge. You've got to get industry involved, and we can help you with that too. They're willing to work with you because they're looking for future employees down the road. So they're willing to help you to be successful in your school programs in your respective high schools. One of the things I'm really proud about is our tuition reimbursement incentive program. We have over 7,000 trip locations across the country. These are employers that are willing to invest in our graduates. They're willing to help them pay off their student loans, give them a tool allowance, a sign-on bonus, a tenure bonus, all these kind of things to help them be successful so they don't have a lot of debt over their head. These employers, they offer program or packages anywhere from $10,000 up to over $50,000. That's how bad they need technicians. I often say, all of these companies, they're all fishing in the same pond. So you have to have the better bait to get the technicians, and that's one of the things that we really emphasize. But kids can get their education paid for. There is a catch. These employers, they want students that have a good work ethic. They're professional. They're they want to advance. They have good attendance. That's what they're looking for. And boy, if you can meet that criteria, you can have your education paid for. So it's a great program, and we're seeing a huge participation in all these various programs that we offer through our employers. So our program, we get trained in less than a year. Our programs are anywhere from 7 months up to 24 months, depending upon the program. We do offer associate degrees in some of our programs too, and we offer competency-based credentials. But it's a great way for students to get a great education quickly and then get out into the working world as quickly as we possibly can and start making money. We do stay connected on social media. You can see us on Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, our YouTube channel as well. I even have my own Instagram account. You can follow me. You'll see that information later. But we try to stay connected with students, but also with educators to give them support as they need to help them with their school districts. And then this is my contact information. This is my email address. This is my phone number. There's my Instagram account number. Please follow me. I'll follow you back. I'd like to follow school counselors all over the country any way I possibly can. But feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions or comments about what we do. We offer all types of workshops in schools on STEM and career development. I offer professional development for your staff. We come in and do training with your staff. Everything we offer is free, and if you catch me on a good day, I'll even bring lunch too. So we want to work with you, partner with you any way we possibly can. We know the job that you have. We know the workload that you have. We just want to help ease that any way we possibly can with you and to help you become even more successful with your students. But I learned a long time ago that it doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter how many possessions you have. No, what really matters is, do you have your own QR code? And there's mine right there. So please feel free to snap a shot of that. That gives you all my contact information so that you can reach out to me. As I said earlier, I'd love to hear from you. And I can't thank you enough for taking 20, 30 minutes out of your day to spend it with us and get to hear what we have to say. I know you're busy people. And I wish you the best of luck for the rest of your school year and happy holidays. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Stephen. Appreciate it. A couple of actually questions related to follow-up. Let me go to the first one, jump right in because there's a couple of them. Could you just restate very quickly the TRIP program? In other words, you've mentioned it, you've identified it, you've shown it. You think it's a great opportunity. I think this caller would like to know a little bit, like some additional information on it, please.
Yeah, what happens is an employer will come to us and they will agree to offer a package to our graduate. And this package can be, like I said, anywhere from $10,000 up to $50,000 plus. But it's a way to help the student. Well, it's a way to attract them to their business, obviously. It's a lure, but it helps the student because that way they don't start out in a bunch of debt because they need tools. And so they're willing to help them with that. And and of course, then if they have any student loans, they'll help them with those type of things too. They don't hand them a check. What they do is they just pay them gradually as they go, as they work. So they get their paycheck, and then they get an additional check on top of that to use towards their student loans and to pay those things off. And when I talk about how successful it is, the average graduation rate of all post-secondary schools in the United States is about 48%. Ours hovers in the upper 60s to 70%. And I think this has a lot to do with it because it gives students something to shoot for.
Yeah. I can speak for the Manage America, our foundation with regard to UTI. We find that just generally speaking, that about 90% of the awardees each year actually enroll, which is pretty significant, pretty impressive statistic. Now, the second question has to do with financial aid. I think this one, it just said financial aid. So if you could, you mentioned scholarships, you mentioned the availability of money to students coming into UTI, going into the careers offered. I think it would be helpful to talk a little bit about UTI's assistance for people that are looking to fill out the FAFSA, and what kind of assistance do you provide? Because that FAFSA is kind of like your gatekeeper, right?
Yes. Well, what we do, first of all, let me back up. You can't just come to UTI. You have to be invited. And that's through a personal interview with the student and their family, because we want to make sure everything's on the table, including the finances. How much it's going to cost. So we want to see if not only if they're a good fit for us, but that we're a good fit for them. And then if they choose to enroll, then we hook them up with a financial aid advisor. The first thing we want to do is we want to get a FAFSA done. We want to get that done immediately. And that way we find out where the student stands with everything so we can help build a financial package for them. So being Title IV funded, we offer financial aid to those who qualify, and like the Pell Grants, and then student loans and those type of things. And then we lock in our other scholarships and grants that we offer. We have grants for relocation, we have grants for housing, because we do offer housing at all of our campuses in Texas. And but we have grants to help with all those things too. And then what we do then is we put together a financial aid package for that student and their family, so they know before they ever start school what they're going to be faced with, what they have to do. And then of course the trip employer comes at the end. And so any student loans that they don't get, that they may have to take out to finish school, then the trip package can kick in and help pay for those too. So that's kind of how it works.
So the counseling, the FAFSA is critical for the potential student because it gives them a roadmap of what they might be eligible for grants, which is money that you don't have to pay back, and then what money available from the school with regard to scholarships, and then what, if any, kind of loans you have to take out in order to put together the final package. Would that be fair?
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. And that FAFSA is the key. That's why we push students, get that FAFSA done quickly, and we'll help you with that too. We have financial aid people that will help the family if it seems too confusing for them. We'll walk them through it to get that done.
You mentioned housing. There was a question mark next to housing. Why don't you talk a little bit about almost all of your campuses are destination campuses, which means that mom and dad might be taking their son or their daughter to school there. What do you offer for housing, and how might that work?
Yeah, what we offer, they're not dorms, they're apartments, but they're our apartments that the students lease. The lease is their own lease, so they're not responsible for anybody else. So if a roommate moves out, they're not stuck with the bill. And the lease also matches their program. So if their program is a 10-month program, their lease is a 10-month program, so that they don't have to pay for housing they don't need. And they're furnished apartments, and everything's included in all that. So it makes it worry-free for the student and the family. And then we help students to get part-time jobs while they're in school. That way they can offset some of their housing expenses on their own.
Yeah, that's great. I think it's great. As always, this is a very, very informative session. Let me go through because we're running short of time. Let me go through a very quick laundry list of housekeeping matters for all the audience. The Manage America Foundation has recorded this session, and we'll be forwarding this recording to all registrants. We also will be sending out a survey and ask that all the participants consider filling out the survey, give us feedback on the session, the materials, etc., and see if so that we can direct future sessions around that feedback. Before closing, we want to thank the participants, the education participants, for taking time out of their very busy schedule to carving out a little bit of time to listen to Stephen, listen about UTI, listen to very little bit about Imagine America. We really appreciate it. We know you got a lot of different competing demands on your time. We appreciate you carving out just a little bit of time for us. We value that time so much that we want to announce that we will be providing a certificate of completion to any of the educators that are on this call that would like to have it, so they can document their participation and send it up within their school system accordingly, or the school, so that they get credit for the time that they spent with us. If you want to get that certificate of completion, all you simply need to do is email or call the Imagine America Foundation, and that certificate will be signed off by the participants of the webinar. We appreciate it. I want to thank Dr. Coyle for sharing his presentation today, and encourage you to use his QR code and contact him directly if you have any questions. After the first of the year, Imagine America will be sending out announcements relative to upcoming open houses at UTI and other Imagine America schools. Just keep an eye on your email. You'll see those coming up. On behalf of the Imagine America Foundation, Lauren Cunningham, who does all the work here for the foundation on these webinars, and Dr. Coyle, we want to thank you. Hope you have a great day, and goodbye.